what's up out there in YouTube land? Rockin' Dave, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. And just doing a little demo here on the Digitech S-Drum pedal. And it's a really cool pedal here, because you could actually create your own drum patterns off of what your rhythms are. And the thing is that you do have to calibrate it so it will be able to sense what you are doing from your guitar. Now, if you notice, you do have two pads here. So there's your kick and there's your drum, your snare. You could calibrate it by how many kicks you want and how many snares, times you want the snare to be hit. And then once you hit it in play mode, it's going to sense off of that function right there. Now, let's see. Let's go ahead and clear this. You got to hold this down. There we go. Now it's going to clear. We'll go ahead and clear everything. Okay. Want to clear it. There we go. Those are clear. I'm going to clear this as well. Okay. So let me explain, first of all, how I got this hooked up. This foot switch, this FS3X, is an optional foot switch. It's only 35 bucks. It does come with its cord. And I really recommend, anyone that buys something like this, when there's the optional foot switch, go ahead and spend the extra money on getting that optional foot switch, because you're going to see how useful this function really is. Because you can really do a lot more hands-free with it. Okay, now, I'm going to explain how I have this hooked up, because you cannot see it going into my effects unit or anything like that. So, this is my guitar input. Okay? That's my guitar output. That'll go into my effect processor or into my guitar amp. This goes into, I have it set right now going into my loop pedal. But let's say I don't want to use the loop pedal. Let's say I've got a real simple basic setup. When you get this, you have to download the manual. You do get a quick start that'll show you your different options on hooking this up to a guitar amp or a PA or anything like that. But let's assume you want to hook it up to your guitar amp. You can do all that, but just keep in mind your drum sounds might sound very mid-range. So, if you really want to get the most out of any of these type of units, you'd be surprised on how little you would have to spend. You really don't have to spend a whole lot. But buying an extra powered PA speaker, even if it's a 12-inch, is going to make a world of difference for your drum sounds, okay? Right now I have all this hooked up to my Roland BR330 powered PA speaker. 4-channel powered PA speaker, stereo PA speaker, with 4 6-inch speakers and 2 tweeters. So, but maybe you guys are not going to be running into something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and assume if you want to hook this up to your guitar amp, spend extra money and you could buy a real inexpensive 12-inch powered PA and run that output, because it does have option of running stereo too, so you could run it into 2 PA speakers. But let's say you just buy one. So you run the drums, it'll go right into the powered PA speaker. Your guitar output will go right into your guitar amp. And this way you'll get more of a true separation. Now, I'm not going to go into right now how I got everything hooked up with my guitar, with my loop pedal and that, because I want to stay focused solely on this pedal, on this S-Drum. You have to calibrate it. Okay, so what I mean by that is, well, here, let me go ahead and do this. Before I do anything, I'm going to go ahead and unplug my foot switch here, because you got to understand something. When you hook up this foot switch, first hook this up, and your cord that comes with, hook that up in there. Now, you get 3 different settings on this. You get what's called tabletop. Let me get the manual here. You get what's called a live. Let's see here. Yeah, live function. If you want to do like a live band type, a tabletop, which will do different functions with these foot switches, or a direct part, which could separate to select the verse, select the chorus, and select the bridge. And actually, that is on the tabletop, what they call a tabletop. Doesn't mean you could use it on the table, but that's not what it's referring to. That's just what they're calling it. But if you want to do just what I record here, I went into the live mode function, which what's going to happen is, and it's going to act on my foot switches here. Foot switch number 1 is going to be my selecting of my hi-hats and ride variations. Foot switch number 2, which is this one right here, the down, will select hi-hats, rides, and sub-beat timing. And foot switch number 3 would just be playing the crash symbol. Now, if you want to hook this up to live performance, just how I had this. When you plug this in here, this is going to be your foot switch input. And it's clearly marked. If you have a bigger computer, you'll be able to see. What you have to do, hold this switch down, because this is what's going to activate the live mode setting. So with my foot, I'm going to go ahead and hold that down. Make sure I got it. And I'm going to go ahead and plug this in without moving my... see, I got the guitar moving the camera. Well, let me do this, guys. Let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and hold this down. And then I'm going to plug this in to make my connection. Okay, there. So, got my connection in there. Now, depending when you use this last, this little button's called Guitar Audition. You have to hold this to calibrate it. Okay. Now the kick is flashing. So I'm going to strum my bass strings. Was it 12 times? Okay, there we go. Now my snare. I'm going to hit my high strings. Okay, now we're set. Now we're ready. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. And the reason why you're doing this is because when you play your bass strings, that's going to act as your kick drum. When you play your treble strings, that's going to act as your snare. So, I'm going to go ahead and see if I could go ahead and give a little beat here. So, my kick is going to go, well, you're going to hear this, okay? Here, there's my kick. I'm playing my low E string. My low E, B, my A, my B, A, and D. Now, here's my G, B, and E string. Now, let's go ahead and add this as a rhythm. I'm going to hit my foot switch. Let's get activated. So it's going to actually record what I'm going to input. So it's going to be kick, snare, kick, snare. Now right there, it took what I inputted and created a rhythm around it. Again, this should be my crash symbol. There's my crash. Here is a variation of my rides. There you go, see that? This will be a variation of rides. A little beat, see? You see this little indicator will move. There's back to the basic beat. If I hit the switch here, let's see what's going to happen. There we go. Let's see what happens. If I hit it again, let's see what we get. this live mode setting, you have three lights here. This is verse, chorus, and bridge. In live mode setting, you're only gonna go between verse and chorus. Watch. So you have to, there's a different function to get in on this. How you set this foot switch up will activate all three of those. But now, this is gonna be another video for another time with that function, because it might not be able to do what I'm able to do right now. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and make a rhythm. I'm gonna see if I can record it in my loop pedal and come back with a bass guitar over it. I want to hear more drums, right? That's gonna be your level on your drums. Here's your tempo. Now you get more of a double bass, right? Of course, this will slow it down. And that's basically the tempo I had it before. before the roll came in, and then we go into the next part of the song. It's like anything else you get. You gotta get used to it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and solo, make melodies over this, and let's see how this works, right? So there is a lot that you can do with these. It's just getting used to where the beat comes in and things of that nature. Now, I'm going to go ahead, clear my loop pedal, and I'm going to use the exact same drum patterns. But now let's see if we could get into going into the next section without any glitches. Again, this is a very, very basic function on getting this thing going, so that you can start creating songs. Okay, you could get into a lot of editing with this. I do not do anything on the computer, so at this point I cannot show anyone how this would hook up on the computer. But what I can do is get into all the different functions, and in this particular video we're just taking it as simple as possibly can. Another thing I do need to explain with all these knobs, what this will be your groove and your kit. So you have all these different kit. This side is the different grooves, okay? And although the light is kind of hard to see, is it 4/4 time? I think I got it on 4/4, yeah. The kit I have, you got clean, you got power, you got percussion, you got brush. Right now I have it on the power, so that's why it sounds almost like metal. But let's see if I put this on percussion. Let's see. Nope. Okay. There we go. So when you move this, you have to push the button in. And they'll go back to the original. Now let's see what happens. Oh, okay, since I pushed that in, now let's see if we can get that out. Different functions that this has. There we go. see, it's all about getting used to the timing function, because it is a machine, and like any other machine, it has to cycle through a pattern, but it does it at a much more realistic way than any other machines out there, drum machines out there. So that's what makes this pedal really, really cool. Now, in up and coming videos, I am going to be doing demos with this and the Trio Plus together, and how you could create different, use this for different patterns and the Trio Plus for different patterns. Plus the Digitech RP360 has a drum pattern in there as well. If you want to use something like this live, right now the way this is set up, this is the best way to get this, use this as a live setting. That would be your crash. This will be hi-hats and cymbal variations with different beats. Let's see exactly what that says, because I do not want to mislead anybody, because there is different functions these foot switches can do. Okay, so this would be considered the live setting, live, like you do a live gig, right? When you plug this in, make sure you plug that in first. Hold this switch down while you plug that cord into there. That's going to access this as a live setting. And then what that'll do is that's foot switch number 1, that's number 2, that's number 3. Foot switch number 1 will be your hi-hats, rides, variations. Foot switch number 2, the down switch, will select hi-hats, rides, and sub-beat timing. That's what the difference is with these two. And that is just your crash symbol. This will be your start, stop. You have to hold it down to stop. So I'm not gonna play any guitar with this. Do another quick function, or let this play just as it is, and I'll show you what these will do. So this way you could hear it. So here we go. This would be like, let's say, your intro verse section. Let's go to the chorus section. Now we go back to what would be your verse section. Okay. Now let's hit foot switch number 1. You hear that? And hit again. You see this little light will move. There we go. See, it's moving up. Got all these variations and the hi-hats. See? Back to its original pattern. Now let's hit this. one right here where you can actually go up and down, different hi-hats. This will just do some hi-hat variations with offbeats. Here's my crash. And then when you hold it down, it'll shut it off. So, I know this has been a pretty long video, but I wanted to get into how this thing will work and when you go to set it up. It can be a little bit touchy at times because it has a built-in memory and there's ways to erase all that. And to be honest with you, we've had this pedal for quite a few months now. And I've only really used it a few times because all the gigs, you know, you have to rehearse for all that. But, you know, now I'm going to be able to do a little bit more in-depth functions with this. And it is really a cool tool to have in your arsenal in conjunction with other beat pedals you might want to use. And it's great for a songwriting tool. If you take this, if you take this with this, I'm gonna kind of backtrack. Or if you get this function right here, right? So you have your drop pedal, which you could do alternate tunings, and you combine all that with the Trio Plus, which I don't have on the board right now. With this, I'm telling you, you could definitely write a whole lot of songs for your live performances. These will take SD cards. You could save them in the SD cards. You could go up and down. You could break things down into a, a different, let's say a verse, chorus, bridge section, just even with this and all this. So it does take time to get used to, but I'll tell you what, it's not as hard as what people might think it is, you know. Once you get used to it, the sky is literally the limit with this. So until next video, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. If you have yet to subscribe, please do so. Hit that bell. We'll give you notifications on up and coming videos. And we will have more videos on more functions on this pedal, as well as this combined with the Trio Plus. So until next time, my friends, Rock and Dave, North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida, here where we always desire to inspire you. We hope this video has been helpful, at least in this segment, to get you up and rolling, to show you how you could use this to start creating songs. Until next video, take care, my friends, and God bless. Rock and roll.